lovelies. I wanted to take a minute and tell you guys a little bit about my process when I am doing readings. Seems like there's quite a few people who don't know very much, and that is just fine. I didn't know very much until I started doing it, honestly. My process, of course, is going to be slightly different than any other reader, so please don't ever expect me to do it the same as someone else. We all have our own way, we all have our own style, we all have our own methods. One of the first things is I oftentimes refer to it as playing with my cards. I love and honor each of my decks. I have a relationship with each of them individually as decks, but I try not to take what I do too seriously, and it is generally a fun experience. So that's why I say playing with my cards is just kind of try to keep it lighthearted. And, sometimes, yeah, it can be serious, but I don't like the whole, dark, cryptic, whatever that is associated with witchcraft and tarot stuff often. So, playing with my cards. If you ever see it, that's what it means. I'm not talking about poker cards. I'm talking about divination. Second thing that is big for me is I say I'm an intuitive reader, which all readers should be intuitive, but the main reason why I put that label on there is because when I'm doing a reading and I'm shuffling, that's one of the other things that make people cringe, I actually shuffle my cards. So if I'm shuffling my cards and they're just not cooperating, it's usually because they don't like the question I'm asking, so I have to rephrase it slightly. So that's one of the biggest reasons why I put that out there as my disclaimer, is I reserve the right to rephrase the questions because I cannot force them to cooperate if they don't like the question being asked. So keep that in mind if I'm ever doing a reading for you. Try to have an open-ended question. None of this trying to pin a yes or no. That's not going to happen. All right, let's talk a little bit about terminology. I identify as an omniist. If you don't know what that means, really briefly, it is the belief that no one religion has everything completely right, but the belief that there can be truths found in, I say, almost all of them, because I'm sure there's some wackady religion out there that I don't agree with in any way, shape, or form. However, the older I've gotten and the more I've studied other religions, the more I see things that are similar, the more I can pick and choose what I believe from this one, what I believe in this one, what I relate to, what I don't relate to, and just kind of mesh it all together. That's very much actually my philosophy on witchcraft too. I'm what you might call an eclectic witch, or I like the term starseed witch, and I use starseed because basically it's a I get to do whatever I want title. Because I'm not of this planet, I don't have to follow your strict rules. Sorry, not sorry. Other terminologies. So the biggest one with me is energy. I'm energy, you're energy, everything around us is energy. Energy affects everything. Energy can be felt. Energy's hard to measure, it's hard to see, but we know that ripple effects happen, right? So that's the basis of all of this, is it all comes down to energy. It comes down to me making sure that I'm in a good place, that I have good energy, neutral energy, whatever, that I'm not seeping over my emotional garbage into our reading. Each of the cards, I would say, have their own kind of unique little energy. Then obviously there's your energy. I sometimes connect to people's spirit guides, or loved ones that have passed on, which spirit guides. So then that would be connecting to your spirit guides energy. Or like when I'm doing my moon card deck during the full moon or the new moon, I'm connecting to the moon's energy. So again, ultimately it all comes down to energy. You will sometimes hear me use the word spirit or source. I don't usually use the word God unless if I'm talking about gods, because I do believe in several of the Egyptian gods, Norse gods. Like, the more I study them, the more I kind of believe in all of them and think that many of them are overlapping. Whatever, we won't go into that right now because that's too much detail. But at any rate, I won't say God like the Christian God as much anymore. So mostly I would say I tap into energy, spirit, source. So those are the terms that I use.
Alright, when I was recording my videos earlier, I forgot to mention probably the most important aspect of my spiritual beliefs, and that is the universe. I am essentially a universe worshiper. I will often refer to the universe or the powers of the universe or get messages from the universe. So my two biggest things are energy and the universe.
All right, so again, with spirit guides, there's guardian angels, there's ancestor spirits or animal spirits. There can be nature spirits. I have, the Witch of the Woods. I have many for spirit friends. Now, the longer I've lived here, the more I have made. And then just like spirit guides for different areas of your life. I think that you can meet and make new spirit guides throughout your life because, like I've said, I've found new ones. I know that I have a bunch of other ones that are basically like in the background. I don't have constant connection to them, but they're there, they're watching over me. I know that. So if I ever do a reading for you, just know I might be connecting with your spirit guides. Sometimes people have spirit guides who are really, really, really super productive. So I have to basically negotiate access to you, your energy, help from your spirit guides. I would say that connecting to spirit guides is definitely one of my more natural abilities. I can't really explain it, but it happened just the other day when I was doing a reading for somebody. I didn't even pull cards for them yet, and I could basically hear their spirit guide yelling in my ear. So, just so you know, don't get offended if I connect with your spirit guide and you can't. It's just, I'm open to it. I have ears for it or something like that. I also attract ghosties whether I want to or not. Super fun. All right, let's talk a little bit more about tarot cards and how I use them and how I view them. Now, this might irritate some of the Christians watching. I was raised Mormon, believe it or not. So I actually have studied the scriptures at length. Mormons have the Bible. We also have other books, and I studied lots of them, lots of hours. So I say that I use my tarot cards much the same way that a lot of Christians use the Bible. I will explain. Don't get offended yet. So when you're reading the scriptures, you can read a verse and get a message from it, right? Well, if you read that same verse 5 years later, when your life is in a different circumstance, you glean a different message from it, don't you? Another big thing that is in the Bible all throughout is symbolism! And that is what tarot cards are all about, is the different symbolisms and parables, basically, and connecting the dots, relaying the stories. So that's one of the things that is just interesting with tarot cards is you can get a card like this, okay? I call this the look before you leap card. We're like charging off the cliff. Anyways, depending on what the question is, I might see different things. Or also, tarot cards can be read in reverse. So if you get it upside down, it has an entirely different meaning. So again, to me, it's very similar to the old way that I used to use my scriptures of looking for messages and trying to get insight. Just now, I have a bunch of pretty cards to do it. And it's more up to me to translate it and get the message from it. Now let's get down more to the nitty-gritty of the process. So if I do a reading for you, I will first, obviously, connect to your energy, negotiate my way past your bodyguards if you've got spirit guides that don't want to let me in. And then we will do the questions. Now, like I said, sometimes I have to rephrase them, so I'll shuffle and I'll say the questions. I'll rephrase them if I need to, and then I keep shuffling while repeating the questions, and then when I feel that it's time, and that's what it is just a feeling, I know, okay, it's time to stop shuffling and draw these cards. I'll pull however many questions there were. Every once in a while, I will just be like, basically like, you know, this card feels hot, we need to draw this one too. Jumping cards are also a thing. I don't consider them a true jumper unless if like they actually, you know, get out of my hand. If I drop like the whole bottom half of the deck, I don't count that. But sometimes, you know, I'll be shuffling and like 2 or 3 cards will go flying off. Well, those cards apparently really wanted to be seen. So if you ever get jumper cards when I'm doing a reading for you, I don't charge you for those cards because obviously it was important for Spirit to get that message before you, and I'm not gonna stand in the way of that. So anyways, I will pull the cards, jumpers included. Then I usually take a minute, so if you're watching me live, forgive me, but this is my process. So then I take a minute and I look at the cards and pay attention to what stands out to me, because for me it's very much about imagery. So I'll pay attention to what symbols or what part of the picture, or sometimes it's even just like specific colors, the orientation of the card, stuff like that. Sometimes it'll be basically like 3 individual messages. Other times the cards will almost tell a story altogether. So again, like, let me have a minute so I can properly decode for you and finish downloading whatever other messages are coming through. Then I generally tell you what the card is, what the card's meanings are. I will read the page from whatever book that goes with that deck, just because I feel like it is important for me to give you all of the information that I have available. So even though my impressions are important, I still want to give you like the full picture of everything that I have. And then I usually share what my impressions are and do the telling you basically how I think that relates to the question that was asked, because I feel like that's the piece that I see missing a lot with other readers, or even the books. You know, sometimes it's not really clear, like, wait a second, this is what I asked, how is this an answer to that question? So I try to make sure that I give a little bit of clarity onto how, as to how I think that my reading and that card answer your question that you had. Sometimes it's not a real clear answer, or sometimes the cards think they're real cute and they'll be like, I just had this the other day, somebody asked why they were feeling stuck. So we asked the cards basically, oh, what's making them feel stuck? And the answer was, you're feeling stuck. Oh, gee, thank you. That was ever so helpful. It did have a little bit of insight, but it's just kind of like the initial, like, thanks for telling us what we already know. I've said before, the cards think they're real cute, okay? They got sassy little attitudes sometimes. Just like me. All right, well, hopefully you had fun listening to me ramble about my process and my love of my tarot cards. Let me know if you have any questions. Definitely let me know if you want to book a session. I really do love doing this. It brings me a lot of joy and happiness and fulfillment into my life. So just so you know, I appreciate you guys every bit as much as you appreciate me. And I'm just happy to provide any amount of clarity and insight that I can help translate from the universe from you. So again, thanks for hanging with me, and I'll see you guys next time, I guess. All right. Love you. Bye.